I'm Bob Lovell, the host of Indiana Sports Talk, and I'm here on location at the Indiana Football Hall of Fame in Richmond, Indiana. The Hall of Fame is home to memories and treasures celebrating the great game of football in the state of Indiana. And this year, the IHSAA celebrates the 40th anniversary of the state football tournament. In 40 years of high school football, we've come to know many great student athletes and some great coaches. We've also been witness to many memorable games, amazing comebacks, and down-to-the-wire wins. Far too many to mention all of them in this short feature presentation.
Chris Giesman. I was the head football coach at Penn High School for 30 years. Before that, I'd coached in IHSAA. My career record is 339 wins, 66 losses, and 3 ties. Won 5 state championships and was runner-up twice.
Larry Bud Wright. I've been coaching for 50 years. This is my 48th year as a head coach, and I got my start as assistant coach at North Miami High School, north of Peru. And my first head coaching job was at Mount Air High School, which is North Newton Schools now. And then I came to Sheridan. I've been here for 47 years.
What helped me to be successful over the years was the tremendous number of mentors that I had. Carol Perica at Chittard High School got me started off. Dave Alexander was the head baseball coach, and then the administrators, Dale Graham at Carmel High School and Eric Clark, a great friend of mine there at Carmel. And then, of course, when I went to Ben Davis, Jim Mifflin, the principal, and Bob Britt, the athletic director, the people that allowed me to learn.
Well, I loved coaching high school football because I never worked a day in my life. No matter how low things got, we laughed every day. It was I just enjoyed coming to work every day. It was just fun.
The thing that keeps me coaching all these years is the fact that I enjoy working with the young men, working with the students as such, not only the football aspect of it, but also, just being part of them as far as helping them make decisions and make life-changing aspects sometimes in their lives. And this has really been a big factor as far as why I have continued to coach, is the fact that I just enjoy working with young men.
What I attribute my success to is a number of things. Number one, I could always think like a teenager. I could always figure out what was going on inside my team's head. Number two, I hired people smarter than me. I surrounded myself with great people, and once we got on the same page, I got out of the way and let them coach. My assistants had as much responsibility and authority as any coaching staff in the state.
Well, I think the biggest change as far as high school football is concerned is the players themselves. They're much, much bigger than they were when we first started. We always had strength as far as players are concerned, but the size of players are tremendously different than they were 40 years ago. Also, I think one thing that's really changed is the fact that coaching. Indiana coaching has really improved over the last 40 years, and this has been a big difference as far as football is concerned.
I think one of the most exciting things that happened to Indiana high school football was getting away from the traditional playing the state championship game at a high school field, because moving indoors to the RCA Dome, the Hoosier Dome, and then now at Lucas Oil Stadium, it gave everybody a chance to kind of congregate and be a part of what I think is the greatest weekend in high school sports in America, the Indiana High School Football Championship Series. And I think the maturation of our sport over the years, I think, has really, really taken off since we've gone indoors. And I think playing in perfect conditions, fans get a chance to get down close, whereas they may not have had that opportunity going to a Colts game. And I think that close to the action, I think it's neat for the coaches too. They're coaching, their players are playing in an environment that on Sundays that they're watching on NBC or CBS or ABC, whatever the case may be, they're in the same situations that they see the guys playing on Sundays. I think that's an exciting time for kids. It's an exciting time for coaches. Don't let anybody tell you, when they tell you it's just another game, it's not just another game playing in Lucas Oil Stadium. It's a really special dynamic for the coaches.
When you talk to those who've been around high school football in the state of Indiana for many years, one name that keeps coming up is Hubert Etchison.
Hub Etchison was a great coach, and I think he was one of the pioneers. I remember when I first came to the state, the Indiana Football Coaches Association, many clinics, meetings at the district level. All of these things were just getting started. And Hub Etchison had the first great clinic in the state, the Richmond Clinic, and it was a clinic that no one ever wanted to miss.
Terrific competitor and a great person, and just a great guy to compete against. And I had so much respect for him. He was actually a mentor of mine.
Hub was a great friend. Hub Etchison was one of my best friends and one of my best mentors. I worked Hub Etchison's football camps for 13 straight years, and Hub was a great guy. He shared everything as far as football is concerned. He was a football mind.
Hub was a very organized individual. He was extremely passionate about the game. He loved to talk about it.
And we used to sit and nights at his football camp, we'd stay up till 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning just talking football. And Hub was a great man, and he really added a lot to the Indiana football.
In 40 years, we've seen several changes to the football championship format. In years past, many teams with winning records would not even qualify, but today, all schools in Indiana qualify for the state football tournament.
We're celebrating 40 years of the IHSAA State Football Tournament. In the initial years, teams had to qualify based on the point system. A team got points based on the size of the school they played. So for instance, a single A school, if they beat a 3A school, they got 3 points. If they beat a 2A school, they got 2 points. And there were a number of occasions, I know at least 2 years, when South Bend St. Joseph was undefeated and did not qualify because a number of the schools that they were playing maybe were smaller and it didn't give them the point value. So it was tough to qualify at that time. But at least we had the playoffs and they got started. Then we tried to move into trying to get more teams involved, and they went to what was known as a cluster system, which they had adopted from Oklahoma. And that only lasted a year or two. You played the games during the season, and if the top 2 teams in the cluster played the very first game, of the cluster, then basically that section or that cluster was kind of over with, and people kind of lost interest in it. So fortunately, under Mr. Cato, they brought all the teams into the playoffs. It caused us to expand into the Thanksgiving weekend, which I know upset some basketball coaches because that's kind of their main start of the year was to start their season. But it allowed them to now have 9 games. We went from 10 games to 9 games, but it brought everybody into the tournament and gave everybody that so-called second chance to participate. Because even if you had a losing record, maybe you had a good player that was injured early in the year or something, you came back now and you had a chance to advance through the playoffs. And I think that really made a big change in the state tournament.
With the growth and popularity of high school football across the state of Indiana, how the media covers high school football has also grown, with TV stations dedicating extended sports segments to high school football coverage.
We've been doing Operation Football here at Channel 13 for 19 years, and it's been amazing to see the explosion of high school football in central Indiana and across the state. It started out pretty small about 20 years ago. Some people were involved, and then all of a sudden this has become a huge every Friday community event. And it's so fun to see the moms, the dads, the kids, everybody involved, just having a great time rallying around their teams. And I would say high school football in Indiana has simply exploded over the past 20 years. Well, I've been doing sports on television for about 25 years, and I always enjoy going out and doing the high school sports more than I do the pro sports because it's pure fun. It's pure athletic prowess and watching these kids trying to learn and take steps and become better. I really enjoy being out in that high school environment.
Hey, people want high school football now. They want to, see their favorite teams. They want to see their kids. They love the shows like what they have on 13, 8, 6, 59, what we have here with our game of the week, how they cover that more so than they do at any other time now. High school football is a hot commodity, and it continues to grow. It's going to be kind of interesting to see if there's going to be a ceiling or if it's going to continue its growth for the next 10, 15, 20 years, because I suggest it will. Well, I mean, you look back at the Ben Davis, and certainly here in Central Indiana, I mean, with the Mid-Conference and what we have seen from, Carmel and Warren Central and Center Grove and Ben Davis and the great coaches like Dick Dullahan and, and obviously the Wright family, you can start right there as well with Bud Wright up at Sheridan. There are some great names in high school football that we now know and know a lot of and know about what they've accomplished by virtue of the growth of the game in the state.
Well, high school football in the state of Indiana has changed so much over the years. I'm from Evansville, and so growing up, we always talked about basketball. I remember going to sectionals and regionals and semi-state, and then of course state, and basketball was number one. Now, it seems like, just covering it from week in and week out during the fall, that football has started to take over as the primary sport when it comes to high school athletics in the state of Indiana. I mean, just me being a sportscaster here in Indianapolis, I mean, our priorities are totally different when it comes to football and basketball. On football Friday nights, we're up in the chopper. We have the chopper up in the air on Friday nights. We have a staff of 20 people on Friday nights. We bring you 25 games on Friday nights. So without a doubt, high school football has gone to a whole new level.
In 1984, the Colts moved to Indianapolis, and at that time nobody would foresee in the years to come the powerful dominance the Indianapolis Colts would have in the NFL, but also the positive impact the Colts would have on the youth football programs in the state of Indiana, and ultimately becoming the sponsor of the IHSAA State Football Tournament at Lucas Oil Stadium.
When the Colts came in 1984, it certainly gave the sport of football here in the state a different perspective. And I think even more so the last 10 or 15 years, the Colts have really gotten involved within the communities throughout the entire state. And obviously by promoting the state high school championship now, they've taken it either another step.
I think the Colts have had a great impact on high school football. As well as serving as a positive role model, they've shown quite a bit of interest. They've put on clinics and combines. They've sponsored the state tournament. They've done a lot for Indiana football.
I think that the Colts' arrival in Indiana has really also been a big factor as far as making the popularity of football. I mean, it's statewide. The Colts have become statewide. Before the Colts, basically most of the people in the area were Chicago Bears fans or, Cincinnati Bengals fans or, some Ohio team fan. But now that we have our own home team, I think that has really added to the fact that people have looked at football in a different aspect.
The game has really changed drastically because now it's a venue where everybody can get to see it. And the IHSAA and the Indianapolis Colts have really helped football to grow. And I'll be honest with you, when the Colts came here, I was very skeptical as to whether there would be room for high school sports and what impact the Colts would have on high school football in Indianapolis. But it actually has had the opposite effect, and it has been fantastic the way the Colts have bought in and sponsored. Now they even sponsor the state tournament, which is, to me, is just fantastic. And I think football in Indiana has grown so drastically because of that. We've always been known as a basketball state. Well, that can't be true anymore. We are not just a basketball state. We are a football state to be reckoned with as well. And you can't really say that we're just a basketball state.
Thank you for watching this feature presentation of the IHSAA Champions Network. Be sure to visit the Indiana Football Hall of Fame in Richmond, Indiana. For the IHSAA Champions Network, I'm Bob Lovell.